I want to talk about San Diego homeowners fighting ADUs. And this is a story I've reported on numerous times here on the podcast. And so what's happening is all across San Diego, we have a housing crisis. There's not enough housing units, and homeowners are realizing that there's great profitability in putting a granny flat, or some kind of a small housing unit in their backyard. And now they can suddenly monetize their property because property values are so high and it's hard to find a place to rent. And, it solves the problem for housing. But what's happening is the housing crisis is so bad that now people are building 2-story, 3-story kind of ADUs in people's backyards. And it's like suddenly transforming neighborhoods and blocking people's views. And I saw this video that was on Facebook that was really an excerpt from CBS 8. And I am going to try to bring it up here on my screen. I'm going to see if I can pull this off. If I can, this will be a big victory for me. And we're going to share this screen. And we'll put it up here. And you see it? There it is. All right, I'm going to play this video for you. Check this out and tell me what
I mean, this is ridiculous what's going on here and what they're doing in other neighborhoods. And it has to stop. Who wants to live next to this? And I mean, God forbid if I even get any money for my house.
Kevin Moorfield's family has owned his home on Shoshone Avenue since the 1950s, but now he's considering moving after this ADU development popped up next door.
This is horrible. We wanted to live here.
The development also isn't required to provide any additional parking, creating another headache for neighbors. His cul-de-sac also resides near a canyon, raising safety concerns.
So if a fire comes right here, my fence, that tree, my whole house is on fire.
If you don't understand this trick, you will be easy to manipulate. It's been used by the
Okay. I don't know if I got some of that extra audio in there. If I did, I'm sorry. All right. What did you think of that? I mean, to me, that was an interesting video because here's a guy that lives on a cul-de-sac. And I don't know what part of San Diego this is. Is it like in La Mesa or is it in the city of San Diego? And on the other end of on the other side of his backyard, someone's putting these 2-story ADUs that are just towering over his backyard fence. And he's great. He's angry about it. He goes, what's going on? It's been like this nice neighborhood for 50 years and we never had a problem. And now suddenly look at this. I'm now at a disadvantage. He goes, I can't even sell my house. Probably no one to give me any money for it. And I'm like, oh. So I just wanted to say that this is interesting to me because this is a common reaction or a common line of complaints with the whole housing crisis, ADU, granny flat situation. Number one, it's important to understand that we are in a housing crisis. And what that means is there's not enough supply and there's still massive demand. And when you have that, you suddenly have distortions in the market, especially if government makes it illegal to build more housing. And, this ties into what a lot of my commentary here in Poway and other parts of California, where regulations make it impossible to build on top of abandoned golf courses, or other regulations make it impossible to transform a single family home lot into a nice, good looking, 4-unit apartment building. There's all these rules that prevent the development of extra housing units. And God forbid you try to build out on the edge into the rural area, and that lights a lot of other people's hair on fire because they think of fire damage, and so is this guy. But I'm thinking, okay, it's important to understand, number one, the problem here lies with government officials that have created these regulations that prevent like large amounts of housing, not just little ADUs in backyards, but I mean developments of hundreds, if not thousands of homes is what we need. But we have politicians that are preventing people from building. They're setting height limits to prevent any sort of high density, high rise. And so it's like squeezing one part of the balloon and now other parts of the balloon are distorted. And now people suddenly have this amazing financial incentive, a financial opportunity to put an ADU in their backyard, and then they build up. And from his point of view, it's very frustrating. But I think it's important to understand, as a property owner, you own your property. You don't own the whole neighborhood. You don't own a view. You don't have a right to a view, nor do you have a right to expect that your whole neighborhood around you will not change for 50 years. I think that's important to understand. People, and this kind of gets to the win-win-win-lose matrix that I'm going to talk about later on in this show. People are so focused on making sure their rights are protected and they're pursuing their happiness, they forget the fact that other people have those same rights to pursue happiness and the same rights to live their own flourishing life. So when a homeowner on the other end of your backyard fence starts building in their backyard, yeah, it sucks. It's not your property, so you can't control them. But what you can do is control yourself. So when I saw this video of this guy complaining, I figured, okay, I get the complaint. I've heard the complaint. The news media loves complainers, so they're all over this, and they know it's a hot topic. But I'm thinking, man, if I were in that dude's shoes, I would understand, what can I control? I can control either living here with that ADU in the back of someone else's home that's blocking my view and changing my entire culture in my no cul-de-sac, or so he says, or you're going to have to make a decision to move and just leave, right? And just go somewhere else. Now he says, oh, I barely get anything for this house. Dude, you'll be fine. You sell that home, and I know it's not a brand spanking new home, but you're going to get very high six figures for that. And I don't know what part of town it's in, maybe even $1 million, but certainly high six figures. You're going to be fine because the demand for housing is so great that people will buy a house like that as a place to raise a family, even though there's a 2-story apartment building in their backyard, because that was the best option available, because there's so few other good options. So it's just crazy. People don't understand, it seems, the linkage between all these things. They don't understand that all these distortions that we're seeing in the housing market, whether it's high rise, high density that's going in, whether it's the ADUs that are going in, whether it's housing being put like on a thoroughfare like Poway Road, which we are seeing now here in my hometown, whether it's all these regulations about what you can do with Airbnb, and all of these things are the result of the fact, all these problems are the result of the fact there's not enough supply to meet demand. Okay. And it's a basic economic thing. So if you want to see housing prices relaxed, if you want to make it easier for first-time home buyers to buy a home, if you want to make it easier for struggling families to have a more affordable place to live, then the answer is to build more housing. And I know that's counterintuitive to some people. Okay. But here, let me give you an example that puts it into a different context. Let's say that I have an ounce of gold. I don't know, what's the value of gold these days? I don't know. It's like $2,000 an ounce or something. It's been going up. Just for the sake of discussion, it was $2,000. And why is gold expensive? Well, it's because it's scarce, kind of like housing. There's not very much of it, and they're not making a whole lot more. So, there's high demand and a very limited supply. And so it keeps the price of that very high. Now, imagine, if you will, that out of the sky, we had an asteroid flew out of the sky made of solid gold. Oh my God, solid gold. And this asteroid was, let's just pretend, since this is a crazy example, was going to land on Earth and not cause Armageddon. That wouldn't change the world. It would just, there would be suddenly this gigantic mountain of gold, like you'd see, with Bilbo Baggins and, The Hobbit. What would happen to that 1 ounce of gold that you have now? Well, it would become suddenly less valuable because it's no longer as scarce. Because there's so much more gold available, that means the price of gold is going to go down, down, down. And as a result, we're seeing a similar kind of situation in housing in San Diego. There's not enough housing, and they're preventing or limiting the amount of construction that can be done. And so what it does is it causes prices to go up, and it makes it hella hard for homeowners to buy a house, hella hard for renters. And it provides these perverse incentives for homeowners in single family homes to want to kind of do unusual distortions, like putting an apartment building behind their house with no parking, except for the street parking for them. So you get it? I mean, hopefully you get it, but that's what's going on here in San Diego.